At this time, I'd like to invite Dr. Becker to the podium.
It is a privilege to install Dr. John Katopodis as the 141st President of the Florida Medical Association. Dr. Katopodis, will you please join me at the podium? Mrs. Katopodis, will you also join us to help install Dr. Katopodis? You should get it right. So you go on that side, right?
Right. Έλα από εδώ. Άστα αυτό εδώ. Κράτα τη βίβλο. Λίγο πιο εδώ.
Dr. Katopodis, please raise your right hand and place your left hand on the Bible. Please repeat after me. I solemnly swear that I shall carry out the duties
I solemnly swear that I shall carry out the duties
of the office of the President of the Florida Medical Association
of the office of the President of the Florida Medical Association
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
I promise my loyalty and dedication
I promise my loyalty and dedication
and will work in partnership with the physicians of this state.
and will work in partnership with the physicians of this state.
And I shall uphold the Constitution
And I shall uphold the Constitution
and bylaws of the organization at all times,
and bylaws of the organization at all times,
and work to accomplish the goal of our mission
and work to accomplish the goal of our mission.
To these duties and obligations, I pledge myself.
To these duties and obligations, I pledge myself.
Congratulations, Dr. Katopodis. You are duly installed.
Thank you. Thank you. Siguen up with them. Thank you.
You go that side.
Me? Yeah. Dr. Klein.
Florida Medical Association was established by visionary and dedicated physicians. The foundation they set before us continues to guide our organization. Tonight, we honor their legacy and celebrate our future. I would like to invite the Florida Medical Association's past presidents and your president, Dr. Katopodis, to please stand and assist me in the passing of the Florida Medical Association Presidential Medallion.
Dr. Dr. Robert Klein.
I know you approved it.
Dr.
Actually need to be down here.
2003.
Thank you.
Dr. Dennis Agliano, 2004. Dr. Madeline Butler, 2010. Dr. Miguel Machado, 2011. Dr. Vincent DeGennaro, 2012. Dr. Alan Harmon, 2013. Dr. Alan Pillersdorf, 2014. Dr. Ralph Nobo, 2015. And Dr. David Becker, 2016.
Pass it on, buddy. You can't keep it. And our new president. Look at that.
Thank you.
Congratulations, man. You'll be awesome.
Thank you. 141st President of the Florida Medical Association, Dr. John Katopodis.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Dr. Katopodis will give his remarks now and will offer his formal presentation during the address of the House of Delegates tomorrow morning at 8:15. Dr. Katopodis.
Thank you.
Congratulations, buddy.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a beautiful night tonight. Thank you. So here we are. Here I am, up here. I can't believe that I'm actually president of the Florida Medical Association. For me, it's unbelievable. It's easy for someone to stand up here and, as they say in the South, put on airs. But instead, for me, the opposite is true. It has been an incredibly humbling experience for me getting here. It's been a process, becoming president. It's taken many years to happen, and it started long before I realized I might even end up here. I might even end up here one day. And I'll tell you, the process of becoming FMA president has made me a better doctor for my patients, a better colleague for my peers, a better son for my parents, a better husband for my wife, and a better father for my children. The process of becoming FMA president has taught me many, many things about nonprofits, politics, legislation, health economics, and business administration. The list goes on and on. But probably the most important thing I've learned, and maybe I've been challenged that way in my life, is about human relationships, how to express feelings and thoughts, and especially how to listen. And it hasn't been one event or occurrence or two or three which I could say were formative. There were countless interactions over about 15 years of time, and some of my best teachers and life examples who made this process happen are here in this room. And to all of you, thank you. Tonight I'd like to tell you about one person in particular, someone I consider to be a giant. He's a life example for me, and in my eyes stands heads and shoulders above anyone I know. And if it weren't for him, I would not be for who I am today. I'm going to take a moment to tell you his story because it's very pertinent tonight. Tonight, it's not really about me becoming president. That's the wrapping paper. Please look around you. We have the FMA board and past FMA presidents on the stage. Presidents of the county medical societies over here. Members of the FMA Leadership Academy and other aspiring FMA members in the audience. Tonight, my friends, colleagues, and family, is about leadership. So in the context of leadership, I would like to tell you about my dad, Nanda. He's 93, and he's with us tonight with my mom, Georgia, here in the front row. I could tell you that he was born on an impoverished island in Greece which didn't get electricity, sewers, or running water until the 1970s. That's true. And I could tell you that the Greek higher education system was so broken that only 1 in a few hundred applicants made it to college. That's also true. And I could tell you his dad was a medical doctor for whom people banged on the door of the house day and night to take him to their houses to tend to the sick. She's bleeding, they'd yell. He's dying, the baby's sick. Also true. Dad probably heard and saw too many things at too early an age for his young mind to process, so he never wanted to become a doctor. He used to say to us there was too much blood. Well, that's too bad because he was always interested in medicine and he has a lot of empathy for people and likes helping them. It's a good lesson to those of us with young children to be careful how much we bring home from work. There's no reason for our children to not want to become doctors. But Dad's travails up to now were nothing compared to what was coming with World War II. The war consumed his late teens and early 20s, and its aftermath consumed most of the next decade. The bombs came in the beginning. They were dropped on Athens at night. My dad, his parents, and brother fled to the basement, fearing for their lives every night for weeks and weeks. Then the Nazis took all the food and provisions from the populace to feed their armies. And Dad and his family passed months on end starving, having only one moldy loaf of bread to eat per week for a family of 4. There was no coal to heat the house, and it snows in Athens in the winter. The stores were closed, the currency was worthless, and the streets were dangerous. One day, he was walking to the university to study organic chemistry, and on his way there, the resistance attacked the Nazis, and a gunfight ensued. He was in the middle of it, unarmed. He ran to the side of the road, and as he leaned against the building, a bullet struck the wall behind him, just millimeters away from his ear. It bounced on the sidewalk in front of him and spinning like a toy. He just saw it and stared at it. Death came knocking again. When somehow he ended up on a blacklist and the Nazis came to take him from his house, the neighbors ran to the Nazis at their peril and begged them to leave the doctor's son alone. The good doctor had done so many things for them. Remarkably, he only got house arrest. During the time he was under house arrest, there was a mass execution of resistance members in the public square nearby. It was one of the people on the blacklist. And the neighbors searched through the pile identifying the victims and found one in particular. His name was Katopodis too. And for a third time, death knocked. The Brits and Americans liberated Athens, but inadvertently created a vacuum which was quickly filled by Greek communists who were working in conjunction with other countries to make Greece a communist country. They too had a list, and again, Katopodis was on the list. So they came for him, shotguns in hand, and this time they took him out of the house and started escorting him to a part of Athens where there was a gate, about which the people whispered to one another, that no one who ever passed the threshold of the gate ever returned. One of the two people taking him was someone he knew. He thought about making a run for it, but they had guns. He thought about fighting them and taking their guns, but they were too. He plotted one way and another, and finally, the gate in sight, he started negotiating with the one he knew. "You can't kill me, we're friends. We know each other, how could you do that?" "I have no choice." "What will your father and mother say if they learn you killed me?" "I can't let you go. If I do, the communists will kill me too." "Let's all run. Let's get out of here." "No, the communists will find us and kill us and our families." So it went back and forth as they walked to this gate, and somehow my dad's pleas pierced through the propaganda and zeal and reached the man's roots and heart. And 50 yards from the gate, he let him go. A total of 20,000 people went through that gate. Post-war Greece was all rubble. The economy was shattered. The government was unstable and always changing between royalists and fascists and leftists. Rule of law was a sham. During that time, he met my mom and was married. He tried to start a business using the skills he learned as an organic chemist, but the inept government shut him down because they wanted all taxes paid before there was any revenue. There were no job opportunities. It was hopeless. So when my brother was born, Dad looked at him and realized there was nothing in Greece for this young child but despair. And like so many immigrants which come to American shores, Mom and Dad made the decision to leave their parents, their aunts, their uncles, their cousins and friends, and everything they knew to come to America. His journey took him to Halifax, Canada by boat, where he first stepped foot on this continent with $18 in one hand and a diploma in organic chemistry in the other. He knew no one and had just the $18 because of capital controls imposed by the Greek government. Room and board cost $1.50 a day. He didn't have time. With just a couple of dollars left, he found a job doing quality control at a meat factory. He made enough money to bring Mom and my brother to Canada. I was conceived, and then he took money he had saved and got a master's in biochemistry from McGill University. And then they were finally able to get a visa to come to America, and so we're here. He and Mom placed every ounce of their energy for the next 15 years to provide for us and to guarantee us access to the best possible education. Between the two of them, they had 4 jobs. He had 3 jobs, and for 15 years, he had not one day of vacation. His jobs included moonlighting, doing CBCs and CMPs and other tests at the 2 local hospitals for all weekends and federal holidays. Medical research was his passion, and he ended up working at Sloan Kettering in New York doing research. At that time, Mom worked as a lab technician in another medical research facility. So while at Sloan Kettering, he developed a simple blood test which helped in the detection of and monitoring of malignancies. He patented it, and over his lifetime had 27 patents. He got the last one at age 78. While he was at Sloan Kettering, my parents paid for both my brother and I to go to the University of Pennsylvania. No one provided financial aid. He and Mom did it on a chemist's and lab tech salary. Ευχαριστώ, Mom and Dad. Ευχαριστώ means thank you in Greek. But Dad was always itching for more, and just as I got into medical school, he reached out to some venture capitalists and attorneys and got them to capitalize a new company which he founded. The name of the company was Dianon, named after him, Diagnostics Nanda. Initially, it was a ma and pa shop. He designed the experiments. She helped him do them. They both answered the phone, took out the garbage, cleaned the equipment. It was a one-room operation with a chemist's hood and bench on one side and office stuff on the other. He did more research and created more patents and was able to extricate himself from any obligations to Sloan Kettering. So his little company started marketing the test to doctors in New England using the pharmaceutical sales model. The company started to grow. They brought in more and more venture capital. They added services and tests, hired pathologists and other people, expanded to sales across the country, and pioneered a new model of mass production of centralized lab testing and pathology service. Under his leadership, over the next 15 years, as founder, chairman, and CEO, the company grew with hundreds of employees. It was listed on the NASDAQ stock exchange, and eventually it was bought by LabCorp for over $500 million. From $18 to $500 million. Now that, my friends, is leadership. So it makes sense then that I'm here. My parents were the example I had to live by. They had incredible conviction and a passion for education, which was virtually above all else in their priorities. And they had tremendous love for their children and dedicated their lives to us. Now, mind you, please don't think that our family has $500 million. I wish, okay? As the venture capital came in, and his shares and all the original investor shares were diluted, and so in the end, he had just enough to retire in a beautiful place on Singer Island next to Palm Beach. So this is where it comes to us, here tonight. The remarkable story of these two extraordinary people. For me, they were my example of passion, perseverance, strength, and vision. I never saw them give up or lose hope, ever. They learned along the way from the people around them. When they made mistakes, they picked themselves right up to continue their journey. They analyzed what they were doing right or wrong, changed direction, sought counsel, and moved on. And that is the process that happened to me at the FMA. And the people here tonight are part of that process, directly or indirectly. They say that it takes a village to raise a child. Well, I'll say to you, it takes a village to raise an FMA president. To the people on the stage, I say thank you for all you taught me. From Rick Lentz, who when I first came to the House of Delegates, who put on a bomber jacket to lead the fight for a constitutional amendment effort, to Ralph Nobo, who when he sinks his teeth into an issue, he'll get it done, and if you fight him, he'll sink his teeth in you. To Alan Pillersdorf, who calls you at 7 in the morning to offer gentle advice about the do's and don'ts of becoming a president. To David Becker with his crazy suits, and to everyone else in between. And posthumously, to Jim Dolan, when I became treasurer of the PAC, he said, follow the money. And a very special mention to Carl Altenberger. Carl knew I was going to be FMA president years before I did. He took me under his wing and counseled me, corrected me, and guided me in ways I'll never forget. And I was just one of many people here that he did this with. Though Carl is not physically here with us tonight, his imprint will remain on us and the FMA for many years to come. So to Jim and Carl, thank you, wherever you are. I want to say thank you to my mother-in-law, Chrysanthi, who is here with her 3 children, Evie, my wife, Demi, who's an accountant and came all the way from Greece to be here with us tonight, and Cleopatra and her husband Michele, who are an economist, and they came from their jobs at the ECB and the Fed in Washington, D.C. Ευχαριστώ. Chrysanthi, I want to say another thank you. My wife, Evie, was living in Greece with her son and her mother when we met and were dating. We fell in love, and it came time to talk with Chrysanthi, whose husband had passed away a few years before, about becoming married and taking Evie and Nico 5,000 miles away. Chrysanthi, it was in your power to say no, to keep your daughter and grandson near you. Your husband was recently gone. Demi was living 200 miles away in Athens, and Cleopatra was at that time working in Frankfurt. I'm sure the urge was powerful to keep them near you, but no. You made the incredible sacrifice to let your daughter and grandson go so they could pursue their dreams with me. I'll never forget that, Mama. Thank you. And my dear wife, Evie, she learned a new culture, supports me in every way, and has adapted amazingly well to this country, which can be so befuddling to its immigrants. She went to college in England before we met and got her master's degree in civil engineering. So her English was pretty good when she came, but it wasn't perfect. So for the longest time, she had trouble referring to tonight as the inauguration. Instead, she called it the coronation. Evie, you have taught me many things and support me with great sacrifice to yourself. You have never questioned it when I'd have to do something for the FMA, and you've always been there for me. Your love has been unwavering, and it means everything to me. I love you dearly. Ευχαριστώ. And last but not least, my children. Christina is hell-bent on becoming a tenured professor in English. When she told me her intentions, I told her she'd starve. But English and teaching are her passion, so she told me I was wrong and continued her pursuit. She has worked incredibly hard following her dream. So 4 years ago, she called me up and told me she got a full board scholarship for a PhD program at the City University of New York, a total of $125,000 over 5 years. No one in our family has ever done anything like that. I congratulated her and expressed my happiness that she proved me wrong about starving, but I also added, for now. And she sped ahead in the program and was told to slow down and get published before applying for tenure-track positions, and therefore she needed another year of funding. A couple of months ago, she got more funding and proved me wrong again. So I said, for now. Keep proving me wrong, Christina. Just keep proving me wrong. And Nico, my 9-year-old bundle of energy whose keen intellect challenges me daily. Nico takes the concept that our children keep you young to a completely new level. Nico, you're a really smart guy, and I'm really proud of you. And then there's a little Nanda here up front. At 1 o'clock today, he turned 3 months old. He's cooing and eyeing and smiling at us. His gaze and smile and noise are just utterly mesmerizing. But as we meet here tonight, I want to give a very important message to all the younger members of the FMA and their spouses in the audience. The FMA, for me, has been an incredibly enriching experience of the heart and soul. I have met some of the most remarkable and dedicated people I know. They believe in and fight for our profession like no one else. The FMA is a unique organization where these talented people come together because there's a greater good, something better than all of us. We as physicians are the stewards of our profession. There's no one else but us to protect and shape it. And the FMA needs leaders. My father's story is poignant. He reached great places because he followed his passion and made many sacrifices to get there. Like most of us when we're just getting started, he really didn't know in the beginning where he was going. And a lot of physicians don't want to participate in leadership in the FMA because they don't know what they have to offer or what to do. So they feel they don't have, or they feel they don't have the time to take away from their jobs or their families. Like most physicians, you're extremely busy and time is a zero-sum game for you. So to participate in leadership in the FMA, you have to take time from something else. But you may not be factoring in the tremendous value to you and your family the FMA brings in personal and professional growth. Many of the things I've learned in my tenure at the FMA have spilled over into my private practice and have helped me personally and professionally in many ways. The FMA and staff physician is unique. This combination is ideally suited to do powerful and profound things, and the outcome is that the FMA is arguably the strongest advocacy organization in the state. So how does the FMA and physician relationship work to do this? The FMA provides a structure which brings extremely talented doctors and talented staff together to champion our profession. The FMA is the vessel which facilitates the creation of ideas. We, the physicians, are the amalgam within this vessel which creates the energy and the direction the FMA staff needs to fulfill the FMA mission. So to the younger physicians here, don't be afraid to join in. There's plenty to do, and you'll find your role, and we'll help you find it. Don't shy away. Follow my dad's example. Follow the good doctors on the stage. Follow your dreams, and include the FMA and your profession in them. And if you do that, I promise you, beautiful things will happen to you too. Thank you.
Very good. Outstanding. Thank you. Thank you.